Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video, and apologies about the background and apologies about the sound, but this topic has sort of came out the blues. I'm sitting in the missus' house in the spare room during Hogmanay when they're doing their scran and need to sit and talk to myself in a slightly echoing room as a story that does not need to exist. Disney, it's absolute needless, just continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and a needless fire just continues to get added more petrol for an incompetent, embarrassing organisation known as the SFA. As I'm here to talk about an incident from an Old Firm game that we lost. Does anybody want to go and speak about the Old Firm game that we lost again? Nah, I made a 25-minute video yesterday. I should be done. I want to mentally lay down underneath a rock and no move or think about anything else football-wise until we're 2-0 up versus Kilmarnock in a couple of days. That's where I want to be, troops. That's what I want to be doing. I don't want to be sitting here reliving an Old Firm loss, but unfortunately we have to, as I discuss Scottish football and I discuss Rangers, and there's very, if any, bigger storyline that's currently gone as it just continues to get bigger, messier and uglier as this one right here. Now the title will tell you what we're here to talk about: the handball incident from Johnson when he stopped Seamer for getting the ball into the box. Should have been a penalty, shouldn't have been a penalty, it was offside, arguments, this, you see it absolutely everywhere. And right away, can I just say, this has absolutely nothing to do with the offside decision. Now, if you're commenting about the offside decision, if we're getting people from the other side of the city talking about offside decisions, you've clearly not watched the video. So I'll give you a minute. Have your fun. Have cool. Right. The few people that's here to talk about actual football and things, let's go ahead and discuss it. Because again, it's got nothing to do with an offside decision or an offside reasoning that was made up 35 minutes after the initial incident was ended up calling off. It's got nothing to do with that, because whether or not it was offside, because again the frame that they showed was 2 frames after Lundstrom's already kicked the football, by the way. Whether that's offside or not, it's a complete irrelevance to the story, and the longer you watch the video, the more you understand it, because we're not here to talk about an offside. We're not even here to talk about the incident, believe it or not. We're here to talk about VAR's reasoning not to give the penalty kick, which is completely separate from the offside that was made up again 30 minutes later, because the real reason is the one that's in the VAR audio that they are simply refusing to release. That's right, Rangers again reportedly asked the SFA to release the VAR audio. Now, it's not something that's uncommon in football. It's happened in other leagues, I'm sure other clubs, I don't know, again I didn't pay much attention to much of the clubs elsewhere, but I know it's happened in Italy. I know it happened in a high-profile match between Liverpool and Spurs. You know that mess. The English FA held their hands up and said, "Look, we just got it wrong," and that tells you about them. You know what I mean? That says they've got a wee bit of sun, because it takes a big man to hold his hands up and says he made a mistake. And in a massive game like that, the English FA held their hands up and just said, "We made a mistake." But is the SFA willing to do that? Nah, they aren't. And this is where it starts to get really, really ugly, and one of the main reasons why I need to make it, because again they made the decision that they did, and then later on they started talking about offsides and feeding it to this guy and saying to this guy, "It's offside, it's offside, it's offside." Rangers have asked for the VAR audio to be released why it wasn't originally given. Remember, the SFA wrote on the 14th of October to UEFA asking for the exact same clarification from VAR why a Scott McTominay goal versus Spain wasn't given. Do you remember that? And the real reason, do you remember the storyline? Remember everybody saying, "Yes, Scotland, go and take them to task. Well done, the SFA, well done." Well, Rangers are now doing the same to the SFA, but now it's apparently embarrassing, bitter and sore. It was good a couple of months ago when the SFA was doing it to UEFA, but now the Rangers are doing it to the SFA. It's apparently embarrassing, but again, bias. People support other team. I get it. We're not going to cure anything right here on the channel. But what I will say is the SFA, who were asking for clarification for UEFA about a goal and a decision made of offside later on in the thing, is now refusing to give Rangers the exact same clarification they asked for. Why? I don't know. Troops, could it be the reason had nothing to do with an offside? Because this shouldn't be a story. Do you know what I mean? All they had to do was release the audio, and if they say it's offside in the build-up, someone's offside, the story's dead. No one's talking about it. Nobody cares about it. But it's no in the actual audio logs, and it's not the reason it was given. The reason it's been given, it's been reported everywhere, is that Willie Collum, who was the head guy at VAR for that game, didn't think it was a handball. Now, clearly, if we're just having a football conversation, that is the wrong decision to go ahead and make, because even Stevie Wonder could have seen that was a handball, but they've made a high profile mistake and 5 minutes went by, 10 minutes went by, 15, 20, 25. You got pundits for everywhere saying that was a clear handball, and then they decided to go, oh no, this is really bad for us. It's just, look, there's an offside, look, we're putting an offside later on, and it just say that was the reason. It wasn't given. That wasn't the reason, and that's the problem right there. As dumb and as silly and as needless it actually is, that is the actual problem. Instead of the SFA holding their hands up and say, you know what, we made a mistake. Believe it or not, people can make mistakes. You're allowed to make mistakes. Probably not in an Old Firm game, if I'm being honest with you, and we wouldn't have forgave them for it, but they've made a mistake. All you had to do was hunt up and say, the same as the English FA, we made a mistake, here's the audio, there was a clear mix-up, blah, 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 but they've decided to tie themselves in their own knots by trying to cover for an incompetent referee who's still an active referee and one of the main referees in Scottish football, by saying it was an offside decision later on after everyone's gone absolutely off their nut on it not actually given. And that's the issue, that's the problem, that's the worry part. Why is the SFA gone round in circles and circles and circles instead of just holding their hands up and say, you know what, we made an absolute howler? That's Rangers' question, and that should be everyone's question, because this is the government body in Scottish football. They've already went against what they've already tried to do for the national side, so is it no a worry if you support another team? Doesn't matter who, it could be Celtic, it could even be Dundee, any team that hates us, Aberdeen, blah blah, Hibs, I know he's like Celtic and stuff like that. It doesn't matter who you actually dislike. Should that no worry every single person that the guys at the top are willing to twist and go round these things instead of admitting that an active referee is utter incompetent? Because I'll be honest with you, I'm not surprised that Willie Collum missing a handball like that. I'm really no, and I'm not going to go on personal attacks or anything like that, but I don't think he's a good referee. I've made that quite clear. I think he is an incompetent referee who continuously makes mistakes, no matter the game. I'm not saying he's biased or he's a corruption or he's been buyed by this. I'm not going down the crazy tin hat route here. I'm just saying he's no good enough at his job, and he continues to make high profile mistakes for every team in every game, and he's not the only one in Scottish football, and I think the SFA know that. They continue to make mistakes. I think there was another really poor one on Alan Forrest this weekend as well that was mistakenly done, blah blah blah, blah blah blah, and they're getting all the flack, but they know what they're saying about him, so now they're trying to cover for a referee because they didn't want to admit in Scottish football's biggest game, which is the Old Firm, whether you hate them or no, that is the crown jewel of Scottish football. They didn't want to admit that they got it wrong, despite the investment and despite the money that's been put into VAR. And aye, that's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. Our government bodies went round and round in all these mad circles instead of just admitting a referee had an absolute howler in the biggest game in Scottish football. Again, it's boring, it's needless, this story shouldn't even exist, but they've made it exist by the twists and turns instead of just holding their hands up and admitting the reason the goal wasn't off. But that's my thoughts on it, ladies and gentlemen. Now it's official that Rangers have asked, they've been rejected the audio, but the SFA will meet with Rangers after Wednesday to discuss what's been going on and some of the decisions. Again, the VAR audio, which would clear everything up, has been simply refused to be released to the public and released to anyone so anyone can hear it. We all know why. Again, it's been heavily reported that Willie Collum doesn't believe it was a handball and didn't believe that Nick Walsh made a clear and obvious mistake missing a handball. Do you remember when he handballed it? An active referee in this country doesn't think that's a handball. Does that not scare the life out of you? It really does to me, ladies and gentlemen. But that's my thoughts and opinions on the story. Again, it's pointless, it's needless, it's not going to change anything. But the storyline that they have now built for themselves, the spotlight that they have shined on themselves for simply being incompetence, might bring just a little bit of good for Scottish football. If people can put their bitterness and their sareness away and start to look and say, that's absolutely shambolic, that should not be happening at the highest level. We shouldn't be twisting and turning and making up stuff later on for reasons and saying and claiming that's reasons, because it's lying to the people that pays the wages strips, is lying to every single fan. And hopefully now with the spotlight that they've shined on themselves, something can eventually get done, whether it is some of the yins losing their jobs whose decision it was to make that, as whether it is a spotlight and again addressing the main issue with Scottish football, that the refs are destroying the product. Because it's easy to slam Scottish football, there's no money in it, I get it, blah blah blah, look how much money English football's got, I get all that, I get, trust me, I get it. troops, but the referees aren't helping this product at all. They're strangling the life out of it. They're constantly getting big decisions wrong. They're costing teams goals. They're costing people. They're costing teams, their status in the SPFL with some of the decisions they're making. Blah 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 goes on and on. They're strangling what life there is in Scottish football, and hopefully this stuff it's just going to continue to get bigger. It's just going to continue to get scarier. Hopefully that will start to bring people's attention and start saying, right, we need more money going to referees. We need better referees. The current pool of referees that we have are simply not good enough, and that's what everyone should be taking away for this video. The fact that Willie Collum, who's an active referee, has looked at that incident and hasn't seen an offside, hasn't seen this, hasn't seen a foul on the build-up, he saw it as not a handball, is something that we should all be very, very worried about and demand better from the SFA, as they're supposed to be giving us a better product. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I've got to say about this. I'll try to keep you updated on it, but aye, more incompetence from the SFA. Is anyone surprised? I'm really, really no. But until then, until the next video, which will be after New Year, have a great night tonight, however you're spending it. I'm going to go down, hopefully there's still food actually available, but have a great night, however you're spending it, with your friends, your families, the pub, whatever you're doing. Have a very happy New Year's. I'll see you in the next one. All the best, and bye-bye.